If looks are a representation of sound, this is going to be as boring as it gets, but it's a good thing that it's not the case. Or is it? Hello and welcome back to another experience where I'll be talking about Tin Hi-Fi's latest release, the Tin Hi-Fi C5. Before we begin, I'd like to take this opportunity to thank Linsoul for once again providing this in exchange for my honest experience. However, they have no influence in my feedback and all thoughts and opinions are my own. If you'd like to check them out, I'll leave a link in the description down below. If you've been enjoying my content, please do consider hitting that like and subscribe button. They'll help the channel a lot and I appreciate each and every one of your support. With that all said, let's find out if this planar and BA-Tech IEM can help you listen to the world. For accessories, it's as straightforward as it gets. Some interchangeable silicone ear tips, a pair of blue foam tips for color and comfort if all white isn't to your liking. And it comes with a carry pouch with the logo, and you have the IEMs themselves with the cable. Nothing out of the ordinary here. For the cable is just fine. The design fits the theme, it's soft, it has that weave design, and it has a plastic coat to it, and it ends with the 3.5 termination. In these scenarios, I always use my trusty Let's Shure Chimera upgrade cable, which looks good as well, and it can have 4.4 balanced termination because you gotta feed the planar its power. For design, the design of this IEM is as plain, as simple as it gets. Just a silver, rounded shaped IEM. That's it. Nothing to make it stand out from the rest. No design, marks, or anything. I'm trying to figure out whether to call this design lazy or is simply following the less is more design philosophy. If you want the lowest profile design for an IEM, the Tin Hi-Fi C5's got you. But at the same time, there's plenty of $20 IEMs that look better than this. Just saying. One thing to note is the choice to make these nozzles oval shaped. Probably to suit the square planar design, but it makes it very difficult for most ear tips to stay on, which is quite a hassle, and it just makes the entire experience less enjoyable because I'm always having to pry out the ear tips after listening sessions. For fit and comfort, it's a relatively small IEM, so I have no problems fitting this into my ear, and I can listen to this IEM for hours. If only how it sounds would let me listen to it for that many hours. Let's talk about it. For bass, this IEM does have some slam. If you're all about that bass pound, this IEM can bring it. There's also not much rumble in the sub bass, so don't expect much there. It's tuned very similarly for the bass to the Heyday, so what you get for the Heyday is quite similar to what you get here from the C5. Although it sounds just a tad fuller on the Heyday. However, that comparison stops here, because from this point onwards is night and day from the Heyday, and not in a good way. For mid-range, I'm not sure what happened here, but vocals sounded hollow. There's no fullness or weight to the notes. They don't sound as clear, which I believe the next portion contributes to this factor, and the vocals sound like they're on the same plane as the background music, so vocals aren't the star of the show. For treble, if it's one thing to say about the treble is that it is very forgiving, which is to say treble heads look away. I'm not getting any sibilance or harshness. Trumpets, oh my beautiful, powerful, airy sounding trumpets. They're not giving justice by the Tin Hi-Fi C5. The Tin Hi-Fi C5 sounds like they're choking their trumpeteers, but they're still forced to play. It's not open, it's not airy, it's not clear. The way they tune the treble here, I feel impacts instruments quite a bit. However, these are based on my experience and my library, so please note that it may be different for your experience. But if you love the sound of trumpets in your music, run away from the C5 because oof. Unfortunately, with the way this IEM is tuned, it has an impact on its imaging, resolution and details, which is to say, it's not very good, in my humble opinion. Details sounded blunted, and it can get lost in the track. There's not a lot of separation of sounds, so they all sounded a little blended together. If anything, the bass just dominates everything else, and there's probably one or two instruments cutting through, but not much of everything else. So I feel the way they're trying to compensate for the lack of clarity is by bringing the entire presentation closer to you, which is to say, they sound quite forward. And the best way I could describe this experience is like showing you a blurry picture up close. It's in your face, but it's still blurry. For source, this IEM does take quite a bit of power because even on my 4.4 termination, I need to be at around 10 o'clock dial. So to sum it all up, yet another entry that baffles me. I'm trying to find a genre that would suit this IEM, but for my experience, it's not suitable for anything involving heavy instruments. It's not very vocal focused, so I guess if you're all about that pounding bass and nothing else, sure, Tin Hi-Fi C5, but personally it's a set that is very hard for me to recommend personally, especially when we're getting a lot of competition at this price range. And between this and my recent experience with the Joy Audio Shine, to be very honest, I'll pick the Joy Audio Shine in a heartbeat. It sounds fuller, there's more meat to the bones, and of course, switches to suit your mood. I'm curious to know what Tin Hi-Fi will release next, and I hope this IEM will get a reiteration with better tuning somehow, and hopefully if that time ever comes, I'll be able to share that experience if Tin Hi-Fi will still allow me to talk about their other products. So we shall see in time. So it's important that you share this video around. Let me know your thoughts about this IEM. Easy miss, or do you have a different experience? Comment below, let me know, and with that all said, until the next experience, take care and happy listening.